Welcome to Last Night, your sci-fi recap show. Earlier this week, we talked about two shows that use practical effects to bring science fiction to life. Today, we'll talk about a show where sci-fi is real life. My guest tonight is Paris Nemo, intergalactic man of mystery.
Paris Nemo, if you please.
Of course. Mr. Nemo, being an alien, I'm sure you've noticed humans' fascination with just about anything different. Sometimes it can be helpful, as your acting career has attested to. Other times, it can be a hindrance.
It's natural to reject ways different. Every sentient being has a duty to move beyond natural impulses, in order to truly understand the world around us. If they could not embrace anything new, then they would suffer for it.
So you're saying it's logical for life to give us freaks every now and then so we can learn to accept them.
Logical or not, that is what they must do.
Well, last night's episode of Freakshow was one we could all embrace, I think. Amazing Allie, the hostess, married her boyfriend Matt. It was described as a Tom Thumb wedding. They're both little people, as they call themselves.
Indeed. It was a lovely ceremony, in the style of P.T. Barnum's original show.
I loved how the four muscle men carried Allie up the boardwalk on their shoulders, just like real royalty. I think I'll have myself carried that way when I get married. They also had a man named Digger, aka the Sadu Hobo, on the show. He's basically a man who lives out of his vehicle. You know something about that, having traveled across the galaxy in your one-man spacecraft.
Et as a subnet, to keep me company. You'll be surprised how many people are online in space.
I'd be more surprised if there aren't at least as many people online in space as there are on Earth. Digger isn't just a hobo though. He seems almost impervious to pain. On the show he invited people to staple money to him, which I guess is considered a major source of income for him. And this wasn't an office stapler either. It was a staple gun.
If he has enough d'un to recover, Tennessee, more poet to him.
Perhaps you're right. Let's talk about comic book men. The name Art Spiegelman came up in last night's episode. Some of our viewers might know the name Art Spiegelman. He was famous for winning the first Pulitzer Prize for a graphic novel 20 years ago with Mouse, an account of his father's experiences during the Holocaust. It was a turning point for how people viewed graphic novels.
Impressive accomplishment.
It's almost as impressive to note that he was also the creator of the Garbage Pail Kids trading card series. It makes sense when you think about it. Spiegelman was a fixture in the underground comics scene for many years, including several parody projects.
It's a bit like Christoph Waltz winning the Oscar for playing a Nazi, and then being in Green Hornet again.
It's a bit like that. Getting back to the episode though, the boys talked about James Bond, and whether he could take down a superhero. I always thought the biggest difference between James Bond and Batman was Bond would kill and Batman wouldn't. If Bruce Wayne was willing to kill, and had a license from the government to do so, then he probably wouldn't even bother with the costume.
Et no habit a bobbing aspect. The best way, Dovin a fait, is do not let your opponent know you're fighting him.
You're saying James Bond wouldn't face the superhero head-on? He'd just attack when he wasn't looking?
Exactly.
Perhaps you should be one of the comic book men. How would you answer the poll on their website? What's your favorite movie robot?
Et vous pique, Deda.
Well, of course you would. You're biased. I'd pick the Iron Giant, but he's not in their poll, so I'd have to go with R2-D2. You can all vote on their blog on amctv.com. Thank you for joining me, Mr. Nemo.
Enchanted.
And thank you all for watching last night.